YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back, and today we're ranking every single NFL team based on their offensive weapons, their offensive playmakers around the quarterback. So no quarterback included here. Some teams got some star players, but maybe very few of them. Some teams got a load of talent or a good rotation, so kind of tough to split these teams up, but we'll break them down from 32 to 1 in just a second. 60K is our subscriber goal by week 1 of the NFL. Please help us out by subscribing to the channel. Full NFL coverage in season, weekly predictions, power rankings, and plenty more. We got you covered, so please subscribe, turn notifications on. Follow that Twitter. We always are talking during live games like crazy, always talking about the NFL, giving you updates on the league and the channel on that Twitter. So that's a must follow in my opinion. And check out the podcast. There's a link in the description and in the comments for anything that you may need there. Moving on to 32 up to 25. So 32, I got the Jets. Le'Veon Bell, still got some talent in him, but I'm not a big Gase guy. Gase doesn't like to run the ball a whole bunch. Let's see if that changes this year. Receiver unit definitely on the weaker side. Jamison Crowder, solid option, can move around a bit, but from the slot and outside. Denzel Mims, I love the Denzel Mims draft pick. Let's see how much he's used right off the bat, but I like him down the sideline in the red zone for the contested catches. And then they get Perriman from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but that was kind of a shocking season for him, so I don't know what Perriman we're going to get. The Jets, are they going to air it out, downfield that much like the Buccaneers did? Take advantage of his speed. And they have Chris Herndon as well. We go through these rankings, 32, and people just automatically look for their team and look at what number they are. Again, I think the NFL is in a pretty good place with the talent, with the playmaking abilities. So if I have them at the bottom or towards the bottom, it doesn't mean I think they're bad. It's just somebody's got to be at number 32. Somebody's got to be at 16. You get my point. So I wouldn't really focus on the number too much. Washington football team at number 31, Adrian Peterson, and maybe we'll get to see some Bryce Love. Antonio Gibson's a unique pick. I liked him a lot in the draft here out of Memphis because he can play running back and he can play receiver. They're going to use him in different ways. He's going to be a fun weapon to watch there in that Washington system. Terry McLaurin, obviously a big-time receiver for them. And then kind of the receiver depth is where they're hurt. Calvin Harmon would probably be next up. They have Sims as well. And then tight end, they have a battle. Sprinkle, Thomas, Thaddeus Moss, perhaps. They got guys there. They got numbers, but I don't know if they have a big-time guy there. The Dolphins will be next. Pretty decent running back duo here, Jordan Howard and Matt Breida. And a pretty solid duo at receiver in Devontae Parker and Preston Williams. And then Mike Gesicki as their tight end. So they got some solid options, and it kind of shows how good really all 32 teams are with their weapons because all teams have them. The Bears will be next. Montgomery, hoping he can take the next step. Very strong runner inside. Cohen is kind of their utility guy there. And a solid duo with Allen Robinson and Anthony Miller. And they'll bring in Cole Kmet, and they have Jimmy Graham as well for tight end. But, yeah, I think the only standout guy here is Allen Robinson. Other guys need to maybe improve. Cohen, it felt like they were using him in a better way or in a more impactful way a couple years ago opposed to last year, and they're trying to get Montgomery going now. The Packers, interesting one because it's a talented team, and they have two studs here, two standout guys here in Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams, but they are really carrying this group like a lot. I think A.J. Dillon will probably get the second most snaps. They do have Jamal Williams as well. So a pretty deep running back room, but it's really Aaron Jones that is easily the standout guy there. The receiver room, the tight end room, definitely on the thin side. Josiah DeGuara could step up in terms of a tight end. He also can play fullback if they need it. I just wish they would go out and get better mainly at the receiver position because Devontae Adams is really, carrying this group a bit. So that's why the Packers find themselves towards the bottom there. The Jags, Leonard Fournette had a pretty good year last year, hard runner inside. And then the receiver unit, they make better with Laviska Shenault, who I like a lot. It's just, the durability concerns. He couldn't, nothing major, but the wear starts to sneak up on him because he really carried Colorado. They used him at receiver. They used him every play, whether it's a screen pass downfield, third and short, fourth and short. They put him at Wildcat. He ran the ball. So they really wore him down, but he's very talented. D.D. Westbrook, and then Eifert. Eifert's the question with health again. The same question gets brought back up. So they have some young, talented guys here. I guess health is the concern. The Texans, I guess balance here. Just nothing that stands out big time. David Johnson, I think, will play better in this system. Brandon Cooks, Will Fuller, two guys that are perfect with what they want to do. They want to air the ball out downfield. The speed kills for them. That's what they got here. Just two guys that need to stay healthy. Randall Cobb and Kenny Still. So they're loading up the receiver unit. No standout guy, no top-tier guy, but a long list of guys that can play here. The Patriots go a little running back heavy here, maybe a little too much. They would some talented guys listed here, but if it was more balanced out, not so running back heavy, they'd probably be ranked higher. You look at Sony Michel, James White, and Lamar Miller there, of course, who they just picked up. So it's a pretty good trio. They have multiple. They have Burkhead. They have Harris as well. So they got a pretty deep running back room. I think these three guys will get the most. I still think Sony Michel's the more talented guy if he's healthy. And then they have Edelman and N'Keal Harry. Also have Mohamed Sanu. But pretty disappointing season from him last year once they picked him up. But pretty running back heavy. We'll see if N'Keal Harry, I got high expectations for N'Keal Harry, maybe not too crazy right off the bat. But it's going to be interesting to see who the Patriots use. It's probably going to change every single week, honestly. They had plenty of running backs, and Brandon Bolden's going to opt out, and they got to make sure they go pick up Lamar Miller. So interesting situation they got going there. The next 6 teams here, the Panthers, I think it carried a bit, about Christian McCaffrey, an elite player here. DJ Moore's a very solid receiver. I think those two guys carried a bit. Robbie Anderson's got good sideline speed, needs to stay healthy. He's solid. It's just not too much else besides the deep ball down the sideline. And they have Curtis Samuel, Ian Thomas. They won't really feature a tight end too much. There's just not too much rotation or depth here, but there are some talented guys. The Colts are next. Good running back group. Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor. I think Mack will get more carries. Taylor will kind of be used as kind of that home run hitter guy. Bring him in and, those third and long situations where you want to throw the ball to the back or run the ball. It doesn't have to be third and long, second and long. Those types of situations where they try to get kind of a big chunk out of the running back, whether it's the running game, the passing game. That's what they use Jonathan Taylor for. Receivers, they got a long list of guys, but, T.Y. Hilton's really not the same, and, you can't trust them fully to stay healthy. I wish they would get better at the top here. T.Y. Hilton and Michael Pittman, I'm projecting to be the second guy there. And then they have Jack Doyle. So, really no one here that really stands out big time, but, I guess some balance. Hilton can if he stays healthy. And I do like Marlon Mack. I've always been higher on Marlon Mack, but they're going to take some snaps away from him. The Bills are next. Solid running back duo, Singletary and Zach Moss. I think Diggs kind of carries this group a little bit. They got talent elsewhere. John Brown, pretty talented. They got some guys that work in their system. I think Stephon Diggs is a big-time addition here, which brings this ranking up, I guess, compared to last year. Eagles, Miles Sanders. Then they draft Rager, who I like in the system a lot. Alshon Jeffrey, and they have Deshaun Jackson as well. Just health is the question with those guys. And a pretty good tight end duo. It's just will Rager adapt right away. Miles Sanders is solid. I think when you compare them to other teams, maybe other teams better at running back, or I can trust them a little more health-wise at the receiver position. And then 20, the Steelers, James Conner needs to stay healthy, of course. Pretty deep receiver room. Juju Smith-Schuster, they have Deontay Johnson and James Washington, Chase Claypool. Claypool can be used in multiple different ways. Eric Ebron as well. They got a really deep room. Conner needs to stay healthy. I do like the McFarland pick. They need some speed out of the backfield. That's what they get with him. But a pretty deep receiver room here. So we see how good the weapons are in today's NFL, around these parts. These teams ranked in the 20s. They're at a good state right now. The Raiders at 19, Josh Jacobs, Henry Ruggs, Tyrell Williams, and then you got the rookie I added in here, and Brian Edwards, and then Darren Waller, who made a name for himself last year, big-time tight end. Hopefully a repeat season for him. So they've definitely upgraded the weapons here, got some speed, of course, with Ruggs, so that's going to be fantastic. I think they got the right type of pieces, the receivers to kind of complement the other ones they have already had in place there. They also have Renfro, who can be part of the rotation, Lynn Bowden, who can be a running back style player or a receiver. Next, 18, the Giants. Saquon Barkley could at any time be one of the better backs in all of football. And then you got Golden Tate, Darius Slayton, and Sterling Shepard there. Pretty good trio of receivers, and Evan Ingram at tight end. So a lot of balance. You got Saquon at the top, and the rest is kind of a balanced group here. The Rams have extremely good depth. I think the Rams and the Niners, rotation, I should say. A good 1-2 punch at running back with Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. Good young duo there that can continue to get better. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. They also have Van Jefferson. Like that Van Jefferson pick a lot. And a long list of tight ends with Higbee, and you got Everett, and they draft Hopkins from Purdue. So, I mean, a long list of guys, good rotation. Maybe they don't have anybody elite. Kupp's probably their standout guy here, but yeah, a lot of balance, a lot of good rotation, and some talented players is what puts them up here at 17. Niners pretty similar. The difference maybe a little better at running back and tight end between the Rams versus the Niners here. Mostert and Coleman. They also have McKinnon, who I think is a very good fit in Shanahan's offensive system. We just haven't seen him in quite some time, or with the Niners at all really yet. But a really good receiving back. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, I think is a really good fit. And they got a number of receivers that can step up. Kendrick Bourne's a pretty underrated route runner. Really good footwork. Pettis, Hurd, a number of guys there. And they add Jordan Reed to the mix with Kittle. So another deep group, maybe no top-tier guy other than Kittle, but a really deep group here. The Falcons, their standout guys really put them atop. Gurley, Julio, Calvin Ridley, those guys really, Julio being one of the better ones, really improving every step of the way. So maybe a guy like Gage or maybe Laquan Treadwell can take that receiver 3 spot. Hayden Hurst, I think, can improve his game with the Falcons here, but nothing special. I suppose just the top 3 guys are really the big time standout guys. What brings them up. The Cardinals are one of those teams that are going to run more receivers out there than anybody compared to anybody. So you see a list of receivers, but you have Kenyon Drake, who looked like a great fit, seemed to improve right there in the right system with the Cardinals once they traded it for him. So we'll see if that continues. DeAndre Hopkins, one of the better receivers in the game, and Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, and Andy Isabella. So you got a big receiver room, a lot of talent there. Could get better at tight end, but they don't really feature the tight end too much there. The Lions got a very solid running back duo. They had DeAndre Swift, which I think by the end of the year will probably have most of their snaps in terms of the running back. But Kerryon Johnson's very talented. It's just about staying healthy. And a really good receiver duo. Kenny Golladay is a top 10, maybe top 5 receiver in the making there and already playing at a very high level. And then Marvin Jones. And then TJ Hawkinson, which I think his potential puts him at a potential top 5 tight end in this league. I think he's that talented, well-rounded tight end. So really good group there from the Lions. Maybe not a lot of depth. Amendola comes up next maybe, but not a whole bunch of depth rotation for that receiver position maybe, but some talented guys at the top. And then we move on to 12. We got the Chargers. Similar situation here. You got some standout guys like Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry. Justin Jackson will be the other running back for the Chargers. They draft Joshua Kelly, but the rotation, I think, is kind of lacking, mainly at the receiver, tight end position, mainly a receiver. It's really lacking in my opinion. So no big rotation going on. I guess the running back rotation's there, but nothing to get crazy about. I think Eckler kind of leads the way there. But yeah, there's some very talented guys in terms of the starting rotation there. The Ravens next, and now we go to a team that has an incredible rotation. You got Mark Ingram, and you got J.K. Dobbins, the 1-2 punch at running back, but they also got Gus Edwards and Justice Hill. This is a deep running back room. Hollywood Brown's going to step up this year. Miles Boykin could step up. Then they have Mark Andrews as well. Receiver room's really deep, though. I like that they added 2 receivers in the draft that are kind of plug-and-play guys. Safe picks. Those are guys that I think could fit any system. You just throw them in there, and they'll make plays. Those guys are Devin Duvernay from Texas and James Prochet from SMU. I think those are fantastic picks for the rotation here. They have Willie Snead as well. But, yeah, that rotation for receivers really growing on me. I think it's going to be big time for Lamar Jackson this year. Titans next. They got one of the better backs in all of football, Derrick Henry. A.J. Brown was a top-tier rookie last year, was my vote for Rookie of the Year. Corey Davis, former former top pick, maybe a little underwhelming, but still a solid 2 option there. And Adam Humphries, the 3 option. Jonnu Smith really improved every single game last year. Kind of an electrifying tight end because they get him the ball behind the line of scrimmage and then downfield in the red zone, jump ball. I think he's really going to break out this year, even though I kind of felt like he did last year. So, they got some standout guys here and some good balance as well. To the Bengals. The Bengals got a really good receiver room. They got Joe Mixon for running back. I'm waiting for Travion Williams to step up. He only played for 1 year, but the A&M running back I like a lot. So I hope they get him involved a bit more. And then you got Tyler Boyd, who I really like. I think I talked about the perfect receiver for Joe Burrow is going to be his Justin Jefferson type receiver. A.J. Green is kind of his Jamar Chase. Hopefully A.J. Green could stay healthy. And they get T. Higgins, though, is another one of those types of receivers. And they have John Ross for the speed. So they have pretty much the perfect collection of style of the receivers here. And I'm really excited to watch that group with Joe Burrow. It's about the offensive line protecting him. The Vikings next, they got Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison, a very good 1-2 punch at running back. Cook being one of the more talented ones in the league. Adam Thielen, they don't have Diggs anymore, but they get Justin Jefferson, who I kind of can compare to Thielen a little bit there. Both guys can play in the slot and play outside. And they also have Kyle Rudolph, their tight end there. And they have Irv Smith, who potentially can step up as well. So some talented guys there. They like to use those running backs quite a bit, and they got a pretty good duo there. Speaking of the duo, I like this Seahawks duo as well. Chris Carson, I think, is one of the more underrated, maybe not just running backs, maybe players in the league. A key piece to that offense. Really hard runner. Rashad Penny could continue to step up for them. A really good duo at receiver with Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. Metcalf already kind of broke out as a rookie. Will Dissly and Greg Olsen for them. 2 guys that are very good if healthy. Dissly is looking really good when he's healthy. Just got to stay healthy. And then we move on to the top group of teams in terms of their offensive playmakers. I got the Buccaneers at 6. A deep running back room, just really no standout guy. We hear Bruce Arians say that Ronald Jones is kind of their guy, and he had a lot of expectations coming out of USC. So maybe second year under Arians. Now he's got Tom Brady. They add Tristan Wirfs in there. Teams will be on their toes about the passing game. This is a year Ronald Jones can really step up. But they got McCoy. They drafted Keyshawn Vaughn, who's a really hard runner. They got a number of guys there. Then they got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, maybe the best receiver duo in all of football. Gronkowski. I know people kind of worried, can he kind of get back to it being one of the better tight ends? I think he can be. Maybe it's not out there if he's a top 3 tight end at the end of this year, and they have O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate. I do think the 3, Evans, Godwin, Gronk, kind of carry the group, but that's 3 guys right there and some talented guys. The Saints at 5, really good running back duo, the Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray. I expect Kamara definitely better this year than he was last year, dealing with some injuries throughout the year. Michael Thomas, arguably the best receiver in football. Emmanuel Sanders, so they add a legit number 2. I like to call it another number 1. I think you need 2 number 1s here, especially with the talented quarterback with the talent you have here. I think every team does really. But they had Sanders. There's just minor injuries pop up with him, so that's kind of the question. Can he play the full season? And then Jared Cook as well. So a really solid group here. Some standout guys like Kamara and Michael Thomas. They're pretty deep at tight end, too. They add Trotman to Josh Hill already. The Broncos, another really good running back duo. Phillip Lindsay, Melvin Gordon. I can't really predict who's going to get more snaps here. Maybe Gordon more carries, maybe Lindsay more involved in the passing game. I don't want them to get too obvious, but I'm confident that Shermer won't get too obvious with who's doing what, who's in the game in what situation. It's a good duo. And they have a phenomenal receiver trio really now at Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and KJ Hamler. You got the big body guy. You got maybe one of the better route runners before he's even played yet in Jerry Jeudy. And then you got the speedster in the slot, and KJ Hamler can really complement each other very well. And Noah Fant, a freaky athlete tight end that I thought actually down the stretch of the season was more impressive than I thought he'd be. I thought he'd be a guy for the future, not too impactful right away, but he was. The Cowboys make the top 3. Ezekiel Elliott's their running back, and they also have Pollard, who can play a little bit of both running back, receiver. They don't really need him to play receiver, though, because they got Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, who's my number 1 receiver prospect in the draft, and Michael Gallup, who is a very solid young receiver out of Colorado State as well. it's tough to tell. Cooper's a legit one. I think Lamb could be a legit one, and Gallup's a damn good maybe number two, and he's, going to be second or third in terms of how many balls he gets thrown at him, I suppose. And Blake Jarwin will be their tight end there. So a lot of talent here, pretty deep. And they want to air the ball out a lot more here, and they will. And they have the receivers to do that, but that just opens things up for guys like Zeke and Pollard there. The Browns at number 2 with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, maybe the best running back duo in football. A tough runner in Chubb, and Hunt can, he might actually have more of a combination of talent because he's so involved in the passing game and does so well at it. And, Chubb can be as well, but it's such a good duo there, and a good duo of receivers as well, Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry. And they add Austin Hooper to the mix as well, and they do have David Njoku. So a lot of talent here. Very close to, it's crazy, you think about the Browns, but very close to being number 1. Maybe what's holding them back, I kind of want to wait and see. I want them to spread the ball out as much as possible. This new offense, I think, is really going to go running back crazy, which you understand why it could. But, yeah, I want them to spread the ball, and they will spread the ball out, but I don't want them to limit the receivers' catches. That's what I'm, a little bit worried about, because the Vikings with Stefanski, just focus on the running back so much that teams kind of caught on to that. The Chiefs come in at number 1. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was my number 1 back in the class. He's an absolute perfect fit here. He'll be heavily involved, not just in the run game as running back, but as a pass catcher in the backfield and downfield. Absolute perfect fit. And then you got Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Demarcus Robinson, Mecole Hardman. Maybe could pass up Demarcus Robinson for the snaps. Perhaps it'll probably be close. But Tyreek Hill being one of the better receivers in football, speed kills in this offense, but in the NFL in general. And Travis Kelce, one of the top tight ends in all of football. So the best quarterback in football has the best playmakers. Perhaps here, I guess you can debate it, but. They go together pretty well there. So that is my rankings for every team based on their offensive playmakers, their offensive weapons. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments, your rankings. Please smash that like button if you enjoyed. Please subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on. We're going to have full coverage in the NFL season. I cannot wait. Hopefully you can join us for all of that. But that is going to do it for this one. Thanks everyone for watching. Goodbye.